Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the most popular and least listened to podcast in the world, the Sixth Sense Media Podcast, with your host, Mike Phelan.
Please welcome CHARLENE MURRAY.
Do we have any drivers in the house tonight?
Please do not do a bit on women drivers.
We're here to see her comedy, not listen to you.
I'm here to see comedy too. What time does it start? Well, there she goes.
I'm not ready yet. You are. The second I stood on that stage, I froze. And when that guy went at me, I ran. He was a big deal, wasn't he?
200 or 300 shows a year. Became sort of a comedy urban legend.
Are the puzzles your way of fending off dementia?
Drop them off at a thrift store every week. Buy them in the morning, open them, take out a piece, and then I donate them.
I want you to help me put together a set. Do you think this is a joke?
So you are familiar with jokes. There are two types of people in the world, funny people and happy people. You cannot be both. Do yourself a favor. Go try to be happy.
Top 3 tips for writing a great opening. Go. Worst thing you can do on an opening joke. Oh!
Jesus, are you all right?
Yeah.
You think we can see that great smile of yours?
Some guy just told me I should try smiling more. Annoying, right? Smiling is the key to good customer service. Oh, you're so much prettier when you smile.
Not very original, is it? Why couldn't the washed-up comic be addicted to something other than alcohol for once?
Tomorrow afternoon, $250 a week.
There must be 1,000 other comics in the city. I don't know why you asked him for help.
He's not as big of a jerk as he pretends to be.
What is unique about you? What is it that you can say that nobody else can?
I know you miss your dad.
You can't do it for him, Charlie.
I'm not anymore. I'm doing this for me.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
So all joking aside, let's see. I didn't get a screener for it, but I did watch the trailer and I read the synopsis. And where did all this come about between your involvement and James Pickering writing it? How did you all come together on this?
So John Ornoy, our producer, he optioned it from James Pickering off of Inktip. And so James had originally written it for a male lead. It was set in the UK. And when John optioned it, he and James worked to adapt it for North America and a female lead. So, and then John and I had worked together. We'd known each other for a long time, and he approached me to direct it. And as soon as I read the script, I fell in love with the characters and the story, and so that's how I came on board.
When you're casting for people that have to be believable comedians on stage or aspiring comedians, how did that casting process go?
Well, we had sent it out to a couple of production companies, and we weren't getting any bites originally. And my agent had said, we can keep sending it out, but you're looking at a couple of years, to really get it off the ground. And we decided we didn't want to wait that long. So we did a crowdfunding campaign to get the funds together, and then we decided to cast locally. And I was directing an episode of The Magicians. And I had cast, Raylene Harewood came in for an audition for a character, and I thought she was fantastic, and I cast her in The Magicians. And after that, she was, I thought of her immediately for the character of Charlene. So we brought her in for a read, really liked her. I think we brought her in for another, really liked her. And then Brian Markinson was playing a recurring character on another episode of The Magicians that I was directing. And, working with him, he has so much experience. He is so amazingly talented. And I thought, it's going to be kind of intimidating working with him. He was on Mad Men. He's done all these Mike Nichols films. And he was great to work with. He was so open and open to anything, trying different things. He's a very generous actor. I noticed that right away when I was having trouble with another actor. He kind of helped me with the off-screen dialogue, so I could get the performance I was looking for from the other actor. And so he's such a generous actor. And So I told him about it, and I thought, there's no way. I mean, he's going to be busy. He's going to, not be interested. It's so low budget. And he said, yeah, send it to me. And he read it and immediately loved the character of Bob. And so we had a chemistry read between Brian and Raylene, and they got along great. And they worked really well off each other. So we ended up casting them.
What's your directorial approach when you have characters that have to have that very intense, intertwined relationship? Do you have them work together off-scene to build the rapport, or do you prefer to see the rapport kind of build itself as you're filming?
It was a bit of both. Like, we did have rehearsals so that they could get together and work with each other and start forming that relationship. And then on set as well. One thing that I loved about the script, reading it, is it wasn't sort of the stereotypical, older man, younger woman, and they fall in love. It was really a father-daughter relationship. And so that felt very refreshing and to me, where I thought, it's kind of breaking that stereotype. So they did form that friendship and, a bit of that father-daughter relationship, off and on set.
What were some of the challenges with making, I mainly focus on indie films, so usually there's always some kind of challenge when making a film like this. So what did you encounter during production that was a little bit challenging?
Oh, there were so many different challenges. I mean, the biggest one with indie film is, not having the big budgets, not having, a studio backing you up, not having, crew for every role, because crew was volunteering. And we were so fortunate. It was a really busy time in Vancouver, and everybody could have been working on paid shows. So for them to come out and volunteer their time was absolutely amazing. Like, we ended up with 2 full camera crews, which I've had a hard time getting on paid shows a lot of times. So the crew was absolutely fantastic, but, we didn't have quite enough crew to fill every position. So John Ornoy, our producer, was doing so many different jobs, and anything that needed to be done, he was there to do it, whether it was like, picking up food for the crew or driving a truck, an equipment truck. So there were so many, little challenges that come from not having money to throw at problems. But it does make you really, really sort of creative and find solutions. And I've always been very solution-based in my approach, that no matter what happens, it's, find a solution, and sometimes that ends up being better. So whether it was like losing a location at the last minute or, something not happening exactly the way we planned, we just found a workaround, a solution, and we just forged on. So definitely challenging, but very, very rewarding.
Do you feel that that kind of experience in itself, on a personal level, is more rewarding than working on a network television show where you have those sort of resources at the end of the day?
It is. I love directing episodic, but it's a very different beast. It's a well-oiled machine, and you are the guest director, and you come in, and everything is running pretty smoothly. You still have a lot of creative input, but it's very different than an indie film where you are, doing everything from the very beginning. And if you don't do it, it doesn't get done. So you always have to keep that motivation, determination to do it. And it is really rewarding when you sit back and at the very end of it, exhausted, and think, wow, we actually pulled it off. So it is very rewarding.
Is there a particular scene in this film that you shot that stood out as your favorite, or the most emotionally fulfilling scene?
There were a couple. I think for me, the ending scene was, I loved filming that ending scene. We kept it really, really simple. And we had, now that father-daughter relationship had been formed, and Bob had this whole redemption story. I just love that Charlene flips the tables on him and starts heckling him the same way that he heckled her when she first went on stage, but in a really, friendly, sympathetic manner. And it just resonated when we were filming it, that it was a really nice way to end the film and show that they would be lifelong friends.
My last question, which is always the most important question, is where and when will people be able to see All Joking Aside?
Well, we were planning on a big festival circuit.
Yeah. I've been hearing that a lot for some reason. It seems that the festivals just aren't happening for some reason. I don't know what it is.
No, and I understand. But we premiered at CineQuest in March, just before everything shut down, and so we were able to get our one red carpet premiere. And since then, it is available, I believe, on Apple TV. It's also on one of the movie channels. I will have to send you all of the links to let you know exactly where it is. And so it is available to watch. So we kind of decided it didn't make sense to wait for, the world to open up again. That we wanted to get All Joking Aside out, and available.
Yeah, and right now you've got that great time where all the big studios are pushing everything, so indie film is becoming the go-to right now for fresh entertainment, which I'm ecstatic for myself.
Yes, I hope it really helps indie film, because there is going to be this kind of time period coming up where there's not going to be any new content for most of the TV or films because of what's happening. So hopefully indie film can fill in the blank. Yeah.
You've been listening to the Six Sense Media Podcast. You can find more of our celebrity interviews and roundtable discussions on iTunes, Podbean, and SoundCloud. Be sure to check out our movie, TV, and video game coverage at sixsense.com and fanbolt.com.